she slapped it out of me, like for real. And you get a moment where I go, woo! And I stayed in it.
It was so loud. And I thought, oh my God, I really smacked him like hard. And I'm so sorry. And I said, Tay, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And I was thinking, he is not good.
I was pissed. I was like, I'm never going to work with her again. You know, how unprofessional.
It looks like Taji's not holding back. She's calling out the industry, and now she's really going in on Nia Long, who's been showing support for her after she spoke out about pay disparity in Hollywood. But Taji's not here for the fake love. She's got some serious words, saying Nia made her time on Empire a nightmare and even tried to take over her role. That's some drama. What do y'all think? Is Taji right to call out Nia, or is this just a case of old industry beef? Yeah, that's definitely an interesting point about Nia Long's career. She's had some iconic moments, but as you said, a lot of her roles have been in the same type of role. Love interests, exes, or mistresses. It's tough to see someone with her talent not get those bigger, more diverse leading roles in mainstream Hollywood. And when it comes to Taraji, we know she doesn't just speak up for no reason. When she calls someone out, it's usually because something has really hurt her or crossed a line. So for her to bring up Nia Long in that light, you know, there's some history there. But it's also worth mentioning Nia's reputation as being tough to work with, which has followed her for a while. She's had a bit of a rocky relationship with Hollywood too. So when you think about their time together on Empire, it's not totally shocking if there were some tensions. The question now is, how much of this is old beef versus just an honest reflection of what happened behind the scenes? What do you think about Nia's career trajectory? Do you think she got typecasted too much, or did she just not get the right opportunities? That's a pretty wild side of Nia Long that a lot of people don't really talk about. It's tough when you're trying to break out of that typecast, and nothing seems to work, especially when you put your hopes into a project like Alfie, and it doesn't land. You can imagine how that would hurt her, especially if she felt like that was her shot to step into a new kind of spotlight. But yeah, that whole "why wasn't I considered for Avatar" thing definitely raised some eyebrows. It seemed like jealousy, more than anything else, especially when you compare the success that Zoe Saldana has had since. It's almost like Nia felt overlooked, even though she was doing her thing for years. As for the comments about Halle Berry and Queen Latifah, it's not the first time someone has said something like that, but it does seem a bit off, especially when you're in the same industry. The whole "more black actresses need to work" comment might have come across as a little bitter, especially when it's about actresses who had their own struggles getting into the game too. It sounds like maybe Nia's been carrying that frustration for a long time. Do you think her jealousy of other actresses' success might have affected her relationships in the industry? Or do you think she's just been misunderstood? Wow, Nia Long's history in Hollywood seems like it's full of tension and missed opportunities. It's tough when you're fighting for your place and feel like others are getting what you think you deserve, especially in an industry as competitive as Hollywood. The comments about Halle and Queen Latifah are definitely interesting and could definitely give off the impression that Nia felt a sense of entitlement, like it was someone else's job to help pull other black actresses up. That's a big burden to put on someone else, especially when those actresses have their own careers to worry about. And now, with Taraji, it's clear that the competition was real. If Nia thought she was being blackballed or underappreciated, seeing someone like Taraji come through and really thrive could have felt like a slap in the face. When Nia joined Empire in Season 3, it sounds like she couldn't let go of that feeling of competition. Showing up late, acting like a bigger star, those are big red flags when it comes to on-set drama. If she was already having those frustrations with the industry, bringing in someone like Taraji, who was climbing fast, probably made her feel even more threatened. Do you think Nia's attitude on set was a result of her own insecurities? Or do you think it was more about trying to remind everyone who she thought she was? It sounds like the tension between Nia and the crew was really palpable. When you're already feeling insecure or overlooked in an industry as cutthroat as Hollywood, any perceived slight can feel like a personal attack. In Nia's case, it seems like a mix of entitlement, frustration, and insecurity that led to her being rude to everyone around her. The fact that she was giving the hair and makeup team a hard time to the point where they filed a formal complaint is huge, especially given how many other major stars have guest starred on Empire without causing any issues. When that actor called her out for being late, it definitely seems like it was the breaking point. That's the kind of confrontation that exposes what's really going on behind the scenes. And it's clear Nia wasn't ready for it. Taraji trying to lighten the mood by joking about Nia being on her period was probably an attempt to diffuse the situation, but it sounds like it completely backfired. It's one thing to try and ease the tension, but when you're dealing with someone who already feels slighted, a comment like that can feel dismissive. The fact that Nia's behavior was so disruptive that even Taraji, who's known for being a team player, wasn't backing down shows just how deep the issues were. Taraji's not the type to let things slide when they're clearly affecting the team, so, it had to have been bad. Do you think Taraji could have handled the situation differently, or was Nia's behavior too much for anyone to ignore? It's clear that Taraji's background and her respect for crew members played a big part in her strong reaction to Nia's behavior on set. Taraji's own journey from being an extra to becoming a leading actress gave her a unique perspective on the treatment of crew members, and she has always made sure to stand up for them. She knows what it feels like to be looked down on by the bigger stars, so it's understandable that she wouldn't tolerate that attitude from anyone else, especially Nia, who was a guest star on Empire. The situation between Nia and Taraji really sounds like a clash of egos. Taraji, being the star of the show, expected respect from Nia, who came in as the number 2 on the call sheet, but Nia clearly had her own ideas of how things should go. She probably didn't expect to be challenged by Taraji, especially when it came to who was the bigger presence on set. It must have stung for Nia to be reminded that Empire was Taraji's show, and that probably played into her refusal to shoot scenes with her. It's interesting how, even with all the behind-the-scenes tension, the producers still had to find ways to work around the situation. They clearly couldn't ignore the conflict, and it was bigger than just 2 actresses disagreeing. It was about the power dynamic on set and who got to have the most influence. Would you say that this was more about the clash of personalities? Or do you think the real issue was the competition between Nia and Taraji for dominance in the spotlight? It's clear that both Taraji and Nia were eyeing the spotlight, and that competitive energy made for a tense atmosphere on set. The reality is, Empire was always Taraji's show, and no matter how hard Nia tried to bring her own ideas to the table, it just wasn't going to shift the balance. Taraji's star power was undeniable, and Nia's attempts to challenge that only fueled the tension. When Nia left after season 3, it seemed like the writing was on the wall. There was no way she'd be back for season 4. But even after her departure, the drama didn't die down. The reports of her threatening to sue over an improper goodbye are wild, especially when there was no clause about it in her contract. To claim that an assistant director not being available for a quick goodbye was grounds for legal action just seemed like a last attempt to save face after everything that went down. Her attempt to downplay the behind-the-scenes issues by saying she was professional and respectful falls flat when multiple sources painted a different picture. Everyone can't be the problem, and when there's smoke from multiple sources, it's likely there's some fire. Do you think Nia's reaction was a result of hurt pride, or was it just the culmination of her frustrations with her career not going the way she expected? It seems like Nia Long is well aware of her own value and isn't shy about showing it, which some might see as a strength, while others find it difficult to work with. From the way people talk about her, it looks like her approach to set dynamics might come off as entitled or diva-like, especially when there's a clash with someone as powerful as Taraji. The fact that this issue keeps coming up with different people across multiple sets makes it harder to ignore. While Nia might not be willing to bend for anyone unless she's fully convinced, that attitude can rub people the wrong way, especially in an environment where collaboration is key. It's clear Taraji's a fan favorite, and her history of protecting the crew and showing respect to everyone on set gives her an edge in terms of likability. It's understandable why you'd be Team Taraji. She seems to take a more down-to-earth approach, especially with the crew and fellow cast members. Nia's beauty and status may stand out on the outside, but people seem to think her inner qualities need some work. What's your take? Do you think Nia should have been more flexible in her approach, or is she just sticking to her guns?